I never imagined a single text message, just one careless line, could unravel my entire life. But it did. And the worst part? It wasn't even meant for me. It was a Thursday night, quiet and uneventful. I was at home, sitting at the kitchen table with a cold slice of pizza and grading essays. My phone buzzed, and I casually reached for it, expecting a boring reminder or some late-night meme from my buddy Mark. But instead, it was from my wife. Or so I thought. It was Hannah's number, but the message was clearly not meant for me. I read it once, then again, and again. He's such an idiot. I can't believe he actually trusts me. For a moment, I sat frozen. I didn't move, didn't blink. My eyes were locked on the screen like my brain needed extra time to process what my heart already knew. Something inside me cracked. It was the kind of pain that doesn't scream. It whispers, slowly, constantly, like a leak under your floorboards you didn't know was there until the whole place floods. My name is Ryan. I'm 33 years old, a high school English teacher, and until that night, I thought I had a decent life. I married Hannah 3 years ago after what I believed was a whirlwind romance, the kind of love story people write novels about. She was beautiful, quick-witted, charismatic in a way that made every room feel warmer when she walked in. I used to look at her and wonder how I got so lucky. Now I wonder how I could have been so blind. She worked from home, claimed she was a freelance designer with clients in Europe. I never saw her work, but I didn't press. I trusted her. God, I trusted her. I paid the bills, cooked dinner most nights, supported her through those days when she said she just wasn't feeling like herself. I believed I was being a good husband, steady, patient, present. Turns out I was just being groomed to play a role in her story. After that message, I didn't sleep. I lay awake, heart racing, mind running 1,000 miles a minute. And the next morning, when she casually asked if I wanted eggs or pancakes like nothing had happened, I realized something darker. This wasn't a mistake. It was a pattern. I started paying attention, watching, and what I found made me sick to my stomach. There was a second phone. One she kept in a locked drawer in her office. I didn't even know she had it until I heard it vibrate while she was in the shower. I cracked the password in 10 minutes. It was the same as her old Instagram. Inside were months of messages with someone named Cole. Photos, voice notes, plans, lies, and worst of all, laughter. And me. When I confronted her, I expected a fight, a denial, maybe even an apology. But she didn't flinch. She looked at me, dead in the eye, and smirked. Go ahead, Ryan. Tell people. No one's gonna believe you. I should have left that night. But I didn't. Maybe I was still in shock. Maybe I was afraid. Or maybe some stupid part of me still loved her. A week later, I moved out. Quietly. No drama. I just packed what I could fit in my car and drove to my brother's place on the other side of town. I didn't tell anyone. I didn't want to ruin her name. I just wanted peace. But Hannah had other plans. 3 days after I left, she posted a video. Soft music, dim lighting, tear-streaked cheeks. She said I abandoned her during a breakdown, that I'd been cold, distant, emotionally abusive. She said she tried to save the marriage, but I gave up. It went viral. People I hadn't spoken to in years were commenting, sharing, believing. My sister called me crying, asking what happened. My principal called me into his office to talk. My students whispered when I walked by. I didn't just lose my marriage. I lost my reputation, my job, my voice. But what Hannah didn't know, what she never saw coming, was that I don't go down quietly. I'm a writer, a storyteller, and I was about to write an ending she wouldn't be able to rewrite. If you've ever been blamed for something you didn't do, if you've ever had your truth twisted until no one believed you anymore, then you're not alone. My story's just getting started. Comment below if you've been through something similar, and subscribe so you don't miss, because when I finally take back control, it's going to be a story no one forgets. After the video went viral, I learned something brutal. People don't want the truth. They want a story, and Hannah gave them a damn good one. She cried in all the right moments, paused between sentences like she was holding back a breakdown, used just enough vague wording to make everything sound plausible but not specific enough to be challenged. She played the internet like a violin, and I was the villain in her sad little song. People didn't just believe her. They defended her, attacked me in the comments, sent me threats, and told me I deserved worse. Even the ones who didn't comment made it worse with their silence. But I wasn't about to let her be the author of my story. I started documenting everything. Not for revenge, not at first, just to protect myself. I downloaded every message from the second phone, backed up the photos, the voice notes, the plans with Cole. I screen recorded her video, took screenshots of the comments, the shares, the posts she deleted when people asked too many questions. And then I went further. I found Cole. He wasn't hard to track down. He was arrogant. Kept tagging himself at expensive restaurants, posting photos of his girl without showing her face. But I knew that dress. I bought that dress. I reached out under a fake profile. Said I was a PR agent working with influencers, wanted to offer him a partnership deal for a couple's lifestyle campaign. He bit instantly. Typical. Within 2 days, he gave me his email, phone number, and, stupidly, a photo of him and Hannah together. Full face. No filters. Her arms wrapped around him like she never even knew my name. I won't lie, seeing that hurt like hell. But it also made something inside me harden. Cold. Focused. This wasn't just betrayal anymore. It was defamation. She destroyed my life to build hers, and I wasn't going to sit quietly and hope karma did the work for me. No, I was going to become karma. The first step was laying low. I didn't respond. I didn't defend myself online. I let her talk. Let her dig. Every post, every exaggerated story she told to gain sympathy, I archived. And then I started planning the takedown. I contacted a friend, Amanda, who worked in media production. I told her everything. Showed her the evidence. At first, she didn't know what to say. Then she looked at me and said, "If we're going to do this, we do it right." And just like that, the documentary began. Not some rage-fueled YouTube rant. No yelling, no slandering. Just the quiet, brutal truth. Laid out piece by piece, like puzzle edges finally clicking together. We filmed interviews. We layered in voice notes from Hannah to Cole, messages with timestamps, video overlays of her crying for the internet while secretly texting him. This will get them all on my side. I didn't want pity. I wanted clarity. I wanted the truth to speak louder than her performance ever could. But I wasn't ready to release it just yet. I needed one final piece, the moment that would break the illusion completely. So I waited. I watched. And I baited her into giving it to me. You know what they say, give someone enough rope, and they'll hang themselves. With Hannah, I didn't even need to tie the knot. She was too drunk on attention to realize the storm was already building behind her. The opportunity came sooner than I expected. She announced she was launching a podcast. A space for healing, she called it. Healing. From what exactly? Being caught cheating? Ruining someone's life with a sob story? But I stayed quiet. Just watched. I knew something better was coming. The podcast launched with a teaser video, a compilation of soft music, behind-the-scenes clips of her writing, and of course, more carefully crafted tears. And then she made the mistake I'd been waiting for. She invited me. Not directly, of course, but she posted this open invitation online, tagging it as an olive branch to my ex, so we can have an honest, raw conversation for closure. Closure. Cute. At first, I ignored it. I even had Amanda draft a post declining the invite, saying I didn't want to participate in public drama. But then I thought, what if I did go? What if I gave her exactly what she wanted, an audience, only this time I came prepared. So I accepted. She looked surprised when I said yes. A little too surprised, like she never expected I'd dare show my face. But she smiled and welcomed me in like we were old friends meeting for coffee. The cameras were set, lights low, and everything was positioned to make her look like the innocent victim just trying to move forward. The intro rolled. She gave her usual emotional monologue about heartbreak, pain, and self-discovery. And then it was my turn. She leaned in, gently, voice soft and trembling. "So, Ryan, why did you leave without saying anything?" And I smiled. Not fake, not bitter, just calm. "Because I was busy collecting the truth you weren't ready for." Her expression faltered. Just a flicker, barely visible on camera. But I saw it. I pulled out a folder, neatly labeled. Every screenshot, every message, voice notes, the photo of her and Cole, his face next to hers in the dress I bought, on the night she told me she was home with a migraine. She froze, tried to speak, but I didn't raise my voice. I didn't insult her. I simply laid out the facts one after another while the cameras rolled. I even played one of the voice notes, her laughing with Cole, saying, "I'm going to be so famous from this." Silence. She ended the recording early, said there was a technical issue, but it was too late. Amanda had also been recording from a second angle with audio backup, and 2 days later we released our version. Not vengeance, not drama, just truth. It spread like wildfire. People rewatched her original video with fresh eyes. Her tears looked rehearsed now. Her pauses, manipulative. The same crowd that once crucified me started turning on her, demanding answers, calling her out. Her podcast, pulled. Sponsorships, gone. Cole, deleted everything and vanished. But I didn't cheer, because even though I cleared my name, I knew the damage she caused could never fully be undone. The students who whispered behind my back. The jobs I didn't get because someone Googled my name. The family members who quietly judged me. Still, I had something better than revenge. I had my story back. I thought that once the truth was out, she'd go quiet, disappear, maybe even take accountability or, at the very least, leave me the hell alone. But I underestimated something. Hannah wasn't just a liar. She was a performer. And every good performer hates one thing more than anything else: a ruined script. 2 days after our video dropped, her page went dark. No posts, no stories, no comments. Then came the rumors. She was hospitalized for stress, receiving threats, being silenced by her abusive ex. It was like she pressed rewind and started writing a new story, one where she was the victim of my so-called smear campaign. And somehow people bought it. Again. A few influencers reposted her older content, urging followers to protect women's voices. One podcast even ran an episode titled, "When Survivors Are Silenced," featuring a vague interview where Hannah hinted at legal action being taken against her abuser. She didn't name me. She didn't have to. I was being tried again, this time in whispers. And I won't lie, there were moments I wanted to give up. I kept asking myself, how many times do I have to clear my name? How many times do I have to prove I'm not the monster in her movie? But then I remembered something. I already won, because this time I had the receipts. And unlike her version of the truth, mine didn't change when the lighting shifted. So I waited, let her have her final act. And she gave it to me in a live stream. It was supposed to be her comeback. A raw, unfiltered Q&A where she would address everything. Thousands tuned in. And at first, it was more of the same: soft tears, vague references, claims of emotional harm. But then someone in the chat asked her, point blank, "Did you fake the crying in your viral video?" She laughed. Not nervously, not uncomfortably. She laughed. For real. I mean, it's not like anyone can tell the difference, right? She said, brushing her hair behind her ear like it was just another Tuesday. Everyone exaggerates online. Welcome to content. That one clip, it went viral for all the wrong reasons. People clipped it, stitched it, analyzed her tone, her smirk. Even people who once defended her started turning. "I believed you," one top comment read. "Now I feel played." Sponsors pulled out again. Her podcast page was taken down by the hosting platform. Several of her past collaborators issued public statements distancing themselves. And the final blow? Her own sister posted a message on Twitter that simply said, "I'm sorry for staying silent. Ryan, I believe you." That one hit different. Not because I needed validation, but because it was proof that even people closest to her had seen the cracks and were finally willing to speak up. And Hannah? She vanished, deleted all her accounts, ghosted the internet, gone. But I didn't celebrate. I didn't gloat, because this was never about revenge. It was about reclaiming something that was mine all along: my voice. After Hannah disappeared from the internet, I thought the chapter was closed. The war was over. But the thing about cleaning up after a storm is, sometimes you start finding things that were always there, you just hadn't looked close enough. It started with a message request from someone named Ben. I almost didn't open it. I'd been flooded with random messages for weeks. People offering support, others asking for drama, even a few accusing me of ruining a good woman's career. But Ben's message was different. It was short, direct. Hey, I think we need to talk. I dated Hannah. She did this to me too. My chest tightened. I reread it 5 times. Turns out, Ben was her ex. From 2 years before she met me. Different city, different job, same pattern. He told me how they met. Hannah swept into his life like a movie scene. All charm, all mystery. She said she had trust issues, that she needed someone steady. He played the role, gave her everything, just like I did. And just like me, he found out about another man. But here's where it gets darker. She didn't just cheat on Ben. When he found out and tried to break things off, she flipped the narrative. Claimed he was controlling, that he'd monitored her messages, isolated her from friends. She called his employer, sent anonymous complaints, cost him a promotion and nearly his job. Sound familiar? The more we talked, the more the puzzle came together. Ben wasn't the only one. There was Julia, a friend of a friend, who said she once worked with Hannah on a charity project. Said Hannah manipulated donors, pocketed funds, then blamed Julia when questions started coming in. Julia's reputation in the nonprofit space never recovered. Then came Mark, and Elise, and another guy named Jamie. Different cities, different stories, same blueprint. First I felt sick, like I'd been part of a machine I didn't even know existed. But then that feeling shifted into something colder, sharper. Hannah hadn't just hurt me, she'd used people, over and over again. Left wreckage in her wake and walked away without looking back. She didn't just destroy reputations. She built hers on the ruins of others. And this time I wasn't going to let her vanish quietly. So I reached out to Amanda again, told her everything, and we started working on part 2 of the documentary. This one wasn't just about my story. It was about the pattern. A web of manipulation all tied to one person, and the brave people finally coming forward. We gathered testimonies on camera. We blurred faces for those who weren't ready. We cross-checked timelines, added receipts, tracked down old blog posts, deleted messages recovered from cloud backups. We made sure every word, every second could be backed up. No speculation, just facts. Because I wasn't just going to clear my name anymore. I was going to make sure she never had the power to rewrite anyone else's life again. We titled it, The Echo of Her Lies. It wasn't drama. It was documentation. And the moment we hit publish, the world saw Hannah for who she really was. You'd think that once the truth is out, once the facts are laid bare and the lies exposed, people would move on. That they'd see what really happened and walk away smarter, sharper, more awake. But the truth? Not everyone wants to wake up. Some people would rather protect the illusion than face the fact that they were fooled. The documentary dropped on a Friday night. Within 24 hours, it had over 500,000 views. Comments flooded in, most of them supportive. People were shocked, angry, even apologetic. Some admitted they used to believe Hannah, and now felt guilty for sharing her posts or attacking me online. Felt redemptive. But by Sunday morning, the backlash began. It started with tweets. Not from strangers, but from blue-check influencers. People who had once shared Hannah's videos and built their brands on believing survivors. They called our documentary vindictive, a coordinated smear campaign, and dangerously close to victim blaming. One person tweeted, "Just because someone has receipts doesn't mean they weren't abusive. Narcissists are good at looking clean." And that was all it took. A new narrative started spinning, one where I was the manipulator, where the documentary was a carefully crafted PR move. And Hannah, she was now being painted as a silenced woman, re-traumatized by a man who refused to let her move on. I was stunned. How could they still twist this? But I knew better than to fight every voice. That was a war I couldn't win. You can't outshout the internet. It doesn't care who's right, cares who's louder. Then the press came in. Online blogs ran with clickbait headlines, scorned ex-release's revenge documentary, and drama between former influencer and teacher turns ugly. One article didn't even mention the evidence. We sent them full files and sources, but they ran with quotes from anonymous sources claiming I was obsessed, controlling, and refused to let her heal. And the worst part? My old school reached out again. They told me a parent had filed a complaint, referencing the documentary, said I might not be emotionally stable enough to work with kids. No action was taken, yet, but I could feel the cold shadow creeping back in. I sat in silence for a long time that night, just numb. All I had done was tell the truth. I didn't scream. I didn't insult. I laid it all out. The facts, the messages, the voices of other people who'd been hurt like me. And yet somehow, again, I was being framed as the aggressor. But I had a choice. I could walk away now, go quiet, let it fade. Or I could keep standing, even if my legs were shaking. So I recorded a new video. Just me. No dramatic lighting. No edits. No soundtrack. I looked into the camera and I said, I didn't make that documentary for clicks. I made it because I was tired of watching people get hurt in silence. I won't fight every tweet or headline. I won't try to be louder than the noise. I'll just keep standing. Because when you tell the truth, and they still try to tear you down, that's when you know you've shaken something real. That video, it didn't go viral, but it reached the people who needed it most. And the messages I got after that, they weren't about Hannah anymore. They were about them. People who had been through the same thing. People who finally felt seen. And that was enough. I thought I'd heard it all. That I'd seen every angle, every pattern, every twisted move Hannah had ever made. But then came her message. It showed up in my inbox at 2:13 a.m. No subject line, just a name I didn't recognize, Marissa James, and 3 words that stopped me cold. She's done this before. I opened the email. It was long, rambling in parts, raw, but it read like a confession that had been locked inside for years. Marissa said she met Hannah in college, back when her name wasn't even Hannah yet. Back then, she was going by Elle. Same girl, same face, different name. They were roommates, best friends even. Marissa was studying psychology. Hannah Elle was majoring in communications. She was magnetic, charming, the kind of person you couldn't help but orbit around. But things turned dark fast. Hannah would lie about everything: grades, relationships, money. She claimed professors were out to get her, that her ex had stolen from her, that a classmate tried to poison her coffee during finals week. None of it was true. Marissa only realized the depth of it when she became the target. After standing up to Hannah over a scholarship fund, something minor, just asking where some of the money went, Marissa woke up to find that Hannah had told everyone she was mentally unstable. She'd faked messages, spread rumors, made her look unhinged. Marissa lost her place in student government. Her scholarship got flagged for misuse. She nearly dropped out from the stress. I've watched her reinvent herself 3 times since then, she wrote. Different cities, different names, same damage. At the end of the email, she wrote something I'll never forget. I stayed silent for 10 years. But when I saw your documentary, I knew it was time. We set up a video call. Her voice trembled at first, but the strength underneath was unmistakable. She told me details that no one else could know, things from Hannah's past that painted the clearest picture yet. Not just of manipulation, but of calculation. This wasn't just emotional immaturity. This was intentional destruction. She had faked hospital records once. She had pretended to be stalked by a friend she wanted to get expelled. She even framed a guy for harassment because he found out she was dating 2 people at once. I sat there stunned. Everything made sense now. The way Hannah moved so quickly from victim to star. The way she weaponized sympathy. The way she always stayed just vague enough to protect herself. Marissa offered to go on record. I don't want to hide anymore, she said. Not after what she's done to all of us. And so we filmed one final interview. No drama, no edits, just Marissa, looking into the camera, telling her truth. A decade of silence, broken in 15 minutes of raw, undeniable clarity. We added it to the documentary. One last chapter, one final piece. And when it aired, the silence from Hannah's side wasn't just loud. It was permanent. Her supporters? Gone. Sponsors? Completely vanished. Public apologies started rolling in, from journalists, influencers, even former colleagues who had once called me a liar. But none of it compared to what came next. When Marissa's story went live, everything shifted. This wasn't just about Hannah anymore. This was about every single person she had broken on her climb to attention. And now, the stories, once scattered, buried, dismissed, had become a chorus. One she couldn't drown out. People started talking. More of them. Old classmates, former co-workers, ex-friends. Even a woman who said Hannah stole her identity during a roommate situation in another state. It was like a dam broke. And for the first time, Hannah had nowhere to run. No more fake tears. No more curated trauma. No more sympathy shield. But the real moment, the moment I'll never forget, came in the form of an envelope. Certified mail. A thick packet. Inside, a notice. She was being sued. Not by me, but by two people she'd defamed years ago. A former professor and a nonprofit director, both of whom had kept quiet for years until now. With the new documentary as evidence and multiple corroborated testimonies, they finally had the grounds to pursue her for defamation and financial fraud. I sat on the edge of my bed, reading that letter with trembling hands. It didn't feel like victory, felt like closure. The legal battle will take time, maybe months, maybe years. But the tide has turned, and this time no amount of storytelling can save her. Because this time, the facts are louder than the fiction. As for me, I got my job back. Not at the same school, but a new one. One where they watched the full story before they judged the man. I walk into class now with my head held high. Not because everything's perfect, but because I stood up, even when I was being torn down. People still message me. Some are survivors of narcissists. Some are just tired of being silent. And they tell me one thing over and over again. Your story helped me tell mine. And that means more than any apology I never got. Hannah might never say sorry. She might never understand the lives she's damaged. But this isn't her story anymore. It's ours. Mine. Marissa's. Ben's. Everyone who's ever been twisted into the villain of someone else's performance. The story ends here. Not with revenge, but with truth, with peace, and with the reminder that no one gets to erase you when you're brave enough to speak. I don't need a mic drop moment, just a quiet room and the strength to say, I survived. I reclaimed my name. And if you're going through something like this, so can you. Comment below if this series resonated with you. If you've been through betrayal, manipulation, or false accusations, this space is yours too. Subscribe because there are more stories coming. Stories that deserve to be heard. And maybe one of them is yours.